This video is for all my supporters out there. I want to say thank you for the support and the condolences that I've received. Thank you to all of you. And the next thing
touch the tip of
is,
your nose if it works.
now that I'm done with Sub-Zero, you guys are all gonna fucking see
You heard me.
how much of my problems were my character and how much was me. Because I'm coming to fuck some shit up. It's frustrating playing Sub-Zero and getting no respect for winning with him and getting blown up for every loss. The character is garbage. Alright? I'm done playing that character and I'm actually maining other characters, not maining Sub-Zero and then switching to somebody else in a tournament. I got other characters I'm maining now, and I'm coming.
Sounds like boss music or something.
And I'm coming. God bless you all. I love you very much. See you at the next tournament.
Man, that turned out so much better than I thought it would. Boom. Did it work? Oh, everything worked. Oh, good shit. Internet, what's going on, everybody? It's Thursday.
Hola.
You guys are watching ATP Live, and we have a super special guest over here on the right of the screen. We're joined by GGA Dizzy as our special champion guest here after his huge win at Combo Breaker. What's up, amigo?
How's it going?
Excellent. Thank you so much for being here. So the way we usually do things around here, myself, Rip, and Ricksta, we usually do kind of like a round table, talk about what's going on. Feel free to chime in towards the end of the podcast after we're done talking about all the bullshit going on lately. We're going to specifically talk to you about, Mortal Kombat, you as a competitor, Combo Breaker as a tournament, whether or not you're a cheater, all that stuff, all the good details. So, before we get to that, boom, hot off the presses, right? We talked shit about it 2 weeks ago, how they revealed Jack 7 right when the show started, right? Last week, there was no show, there was no reveal. This week, look what we have here, right? Can somebody give me the link so I can watch
I put it in
it?
the Skype chat, but
I haven't even seen it. Let me see. Skype chat. Boom, there it is. This better not be some 6 dicks in a row.
New challenger.
Hold on. Hold your horses.
I'm pretty loose with the links.
Hold on. Let me sort that out. Let me put this here. Okay, I haven't seen this. Huh?
I haven't watched it either. I didn't watch it either, so tell me when
You
you
also
click play.
fucked up. Oh wait, no. Did you fuck up the overlay thing?
I think it's okay.
Okay,
So I'm gonna play it now.
New challenger. Kazumi Mishima.
She's got a cat.
Tiger.
Oh! All right. Okay.
It gets better.
Oh my God. Why is it doing Sonic the Hedgehog move? How sweet. Dude, there's a lot of different cat moves. I think I might have a new main.
That one's.
Oh my God.
Damn, Tiger Uppercut?
What was up with her rage art?
It's the same one they
regular
had
ass
in the
rage art.
arcade. Yeah. Tiger Uppercut.
Let's watch that again in mute, and we'll go around the room here. Kind of weird, right? I mean, we had seen a lot of this stuff already. I didn't think that they would put all those projectile cats in there. Looks kind of cool. Oh, it looks like there's some Jinpachi back teleport going on too. Interesting. So what do you guys think? First time we've seen it. I'll leave you for last, Dizzy. I'm sure you're totally you knocked your socks off watching that trailer. Why don't you go ahead, Ricky? How's that butt hash going, by the way? What do you think?
Man, I just broke my headset, man. I'm super pissed.
Man, that sucks.
You broke it?
Yeah, when I was putting it on today, it just went snap.
Oh, damn.
So now it looks like yours. We're twinsies.
Good shit.
Dude, the dopest shit is when she points like this, and the tiger just comes. It reminds me of like a faction kill. Kill it. And then the fucking tiger just comes
Tiger
out
jumps
nowhere.
out of nowhere. I kind of like that. Siegfried and Roy or whatever. I'm down
I mean,
with
it's a
that.
very unique character in terms of something in Tekken. We've never seen a character with a fucking summon like that.
Super weird projectiles.
I like it, though.
And now that the game has a weakened sidestep, who knows? Maybe the projectile. I can't believe they revealed another character this week. And are you serious? And last week they didn't, and the show was off last week. That's fucking
Interesting.
weird. That's even weirder than the fucking tiger uppercuts and shit. Okay, kind of weird. I mean, I'm down. Looks cool. What do you think, Rip?
No, I just saw the tiger uppercut again. That was so tight, dude. I really
Right?
like it.
Not bad. Not bad.
The tiger's really interesting. I mean, I feel like in this game so far they've introduced new concepts that we haven't seen in Tekken yet, like
Sure.
Claudio with his blue hand thing, you know. So I think it's cool. It's kind of fresh for the Tekken series at least, and the character, we've seen the character before, so that's not like a super big surprise.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see that they made it playable, right? I mean, it was
character.
the boss character. I mean, the boss variation of the character doesn't look like it's playable, but
Right.
so far so good. I like it.
Yeah, I think I agree. What about you, Dizzy? One of the things I want to talk to you a little bit later on in the show is like how much interest you have in other fighting games in general. So before you spoil that for us, I mean, do you have any interest in Tekken? Have you been following the Tekken 7 series? It's totally cool to say fuck Tekken. No big deal.
I know a little bit about it. I mean, I haven't followed it closely. I have no idea who Kazumi is or anything. But I mean, the video looked pretty cool. I don't get why like those tigers are coming out today and look like they're like magical or whatever. It just looks like a
Regular tigers.
tiger.
You're right.
Yeah.
They're not magical tigers. They're just regular real world tigers. So you're 100% an NRS guy. You don't play anything else?
I played Killer Instinct a lot in tournament.
Huh.
But actually, when I first started, I played MK9 and Marvel vs. Capcom 3,
Wow.
and I was equally invested in both of them.
Very interesting.
And
I can't wait to...
Go
ahead, go ahead.
The only reason I stuck with MK9 was because I liked the local scene and community better.
Wow, that is a really interesting reason to pick a game. Holy
Yep.
shit. Okay, fair enough. We'll get to that. I got lots of questions. Okay, so our opinion overall is that, okay, we've seen Kazumi. It's not really like a reveal trailer. It's more like this character is playable by everyone type of a trailer. Do you guys know if this variation or version of Kazumi is way different than the boss version?
Variation, huh? Does she have two different versions in the boss mode? So there's that one, and then there's the other variation.
Like a devil mode?
Yeah, the second round, True Ogre, True Kazumi.
Maybe that's what you turn into if you use your rage or some shit. I don't know. It's possible. Man, I can't believe that. I called it. I told this guy before the show. I was talking to Dizzy. I told him that was going to happen. I can't believe it.
Yeah, right when we found out, you were just saying, man, I wonder if they're going to release a new character. I just went on Twitter. I'm like, there it is.
That's fucking weird. Why don't they just tell me? Why don't you give me the link beforehand so I don't have to get it from the chat? Okay. Good shit. Good times. Tekken 7. Moving along. What else? What's next? Street Fighter 4 just took a shit in its pants. It's never even heard of a PS4 before. Allegedly, it released, what was it, on Tuesday? And then the video started coming. Invisible sonic booms. Every time Dudley does a ducking, it's like a gunshot goes off. I mean, it's getting, the videos are getting so funny that it's like, it can't be true. There's no way that this could be really what they released as the real game that they're supposed to use for the Capcom Pro Tour Championship thing at EVO for $50,000. I mean, Invisible Sonic Booms? It's like a Rainbow Edition. It's like, I don't know what to say. Rixta, you jump in there. Tell me what's going on with this.
All I know is that, they handed it to some other company to, develop the port, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard, I forgot, Other Ocean or some shit like that. It was the company.
Open, I think.
Open? What?
Open Ocean, I think.
Okay, whatever the hell
Coconut?
they're called.
Okay.
Anyways, so
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
it doesn't matter.
It's Other Ocean.
Other Ocean.
Other Ocean, okay. So whatever the case is, they ported it to PS4 and it sucks. And they ported something else. They ported a Mortal Kombat thing, right? And I heard that
Did they?
was terrible too. Yeah, like Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 or something.
Wow.
So I've heard that, but you know, the way I look at it though is like, cause I'm not a programmer, so I don't know exactly how that shit works with coding and all that shit. But I feel like that game has gone through so many different revisions and other, you know, so many people just fingering that
Yeah.
programming's butt. And it's like by the time that company got there, like, what the hell's going on here?
What's
Where's
wrong with this
Ryu?
butt?
Yeah, yeah. Whose butt is this?
Yeah.
So,
whose butt is
so
this?
they just threw it out there, man. So, I mean, I don't. But for them to release that,
It's like they didn't even turn it on. They're just like,
Yeah.
okay, we made this game. There's no need to even turn it on once. Let's just ship it. It's good to go. I
we
mean,
don't need people to test it.
Oh, I forgot what there's been so many good links. Charles and I have been laughing our fucking asses off. Like, it's the shit to do. Hey, what links did you find, dude? Let's see these videos. They're the craziest things are happening in these videos. It's like, it's awesome. So, you know, okay, I did mention that that's originally the version that was supposed to be used at EVO. However, Mr. Wizard, of course, you know he's old school. He's from Golfland. He's been running tournaments since the beginning of time. Of course, the integrity of the tournament is going to be like primary concern, right? So he already came out and said that if they don't fix this bullshit version of Street Fighter, they're definitely going to play on the previous version, the one that everyone likes. So either way, it's okay. It's not going to be a huge disaster because if they don't solve this huge problem, which I don't know if they even can. Like Ricky said, whose butt is that? You can barely even tell it's Street Fighter. It's so like badly ported, and there's so many mistakes. So I don't know. Whether if they fix it, it'll be on PS4. If not, they'll sort it out. That's really the good news. The people behind Capcom Cup and the people behind EVO are all, like, you know, they have a history in the scene as competitors. So the integrity of the tournament will be paramount until the end, which is very important to remember. That being said, it's always fun to talk shit. And this version of the game is one for the record books. I mean, people bought it like hard-earned dinero. Like, all right, let me buy this game. And it's an old one, too, and it's just so busted. Anything else? Rip, you have anything to add? Dizzy, any comments about this topic before we move on? Nothing? That's it.
I will say I did think it was going to be pretty bad based on how the arcade collection from Mortal Kombat was when it was first released. It was like horrible for about 4 months or so before they actually patched it, and it's still not that great, but it's at least okay.
These are the other Ocean guys we're talking about, huh?
Yep.
So they had such a stellar resume that we went with them again. Okay, I like that.
I mean, the thing is though, like you said, it's like they didn't even turn it on, right?
Right.
I mean, it's so ridiculous. Like, how could that even get approved by anybody?
It's
like,
crazy.
You just had to meet a date, and they were like, okay, cool, we got it. There's a date. Here's what we have so far.
I feel like I could have done a better job, and I barely learned about right click the other day. You know, it's like, it's crazy how bad it is. The videos, I mean, that's the thing. If you're bored at work, internet, start looking that shit up, and it'll be a blast. It'll be a blast. I seen one where there's like 3 or 4 juries on the screen at the same time. Man, it gets good. It gets good. Okay, so
It's like Rainbow Edition Street Fighter 4, man.
that's
It's
what I'm
crazy.
saying.
What you already said,
Yeah,
man,
invisible fucking.
They need to run a tournament for that game,
dude.
Like
now
like
we're
a side
talking.
event, like Omega version.
Now we're talking. That's the real Omega mode.
Yeah.
Fucking, you don't even know what's gonna happen. Okay.
I mean, it's just crazy because I mean, you know, Mortal Kombat X had their PC release port, and that was
Yeah.
also a clusterfuck, right? And now it's like Capcom's like, don't worry, we can outdo them. You know, it's
Yeah,
like
watch
what?
this.
Yeah, it's
I don't
crazy.
know. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, that's that. I mean, it sucks. Don't buy it until they fix it is basically where we're at, right? Everyone agrees. Don't fucking buy it until they fix it. It's totally whack. Spooky was talking mad shit. I love talking shit. As soon as someone fucks anything up and I smell it, oh yeah, let's make fun of them. So I'm down with that. Don't buy it. It sucks until you get it sorted out. And you know what? On the topic, just real quick, I gotta say, considering everything that's happening these days with ports and all that stuff, I really have to give props to those weird motherfuckers that put out Soul Calibur 2 HD Online. Because as shitty as the online is for that game, the offline versus mode is so close to the original game that I knew and loved as a kid. I couldn't be more grateful about that. So, home run derby by those guys. Good shit. Because they can't even figure out Street Fighter 4, you know? So, on next gen. So I just wanted to bring that up. It's really impressive that that game ended up being good locally. So, okay, that's done. What's the next one? Oh, yeah. So the tournament last weekend, Combo Breaker. There was so much stuff that happened. For me, it was like the first time for multiple different reasons. It was the first time that I was ever flown out of state and paid to do commentary, right? Flattered city, right? It was the first time that I did commentary with people like Maximilian and Seth Killian. Also, really interesting experience, right? And then furthermore, it was the first time that I, as a commentator, have ever been put into a situation where my voice can also be heard by the people in the crowd at the venue. So this was a really, really interesting thing that we've talked about before. The last time we visited this topic on this show was when Capcom Cup had Ultra David and James Chen being heard by the players in the audience, in the auditorium. So at that time we talked about it, and I had said, I don't remember what everyone's stance was, but I know that my stance has been, up until this point, that I don't like it. Because I feel like as a commentator, especially someone like me who does a lot of, telling of jokes and stuff, people laugh. And when you laugh, it's hard to concentrate when you play, right? So I don't want the players to be like disturbed in that way. Let's say I say, this guy's fat or something, right? That kind of thing will really throw someone off their rails. So that's the reason why I didn't like it. However, after this past weekend and, doing it myself, I thought it was better in so many ways. I thought everyone that was there got way, way more into the action. And my evidence is, unfortunately, it wasn't streamed, but Tekken Tag 2's top 8 was the hypest shit, dude. It was one of the hypest top 8s I've seen in a while. And it wasn't streamed due to the what is it called? Service provider or whatever shit its pants. So, okay, that was a hiccup, right? However, Spooky is going to restream that. So any of you guys who missed any of the top 8s for Combo Breaker, he's going to restream those on Saturday. And personally, I thought because the commentators could be heard by the crowd, even I myself, I was watching games like Killer Instinct and Squirrel Girls, and I was really enjoying it because I could hear what the guys were saying. It wasn't like super boring like it kind of is at these majors when they're playing a game you don't like. I think we can all relate to that one. So let's just start at the top, and I'll start with you, Dizzy, because you were there. It was super hype. You were in the grand finals of MK. First of all, could you even hear the commentators up there with your headphones on?
I could at some points. It was mostly just like in between rounds.
Mm-hmm.
The headsets kind of blocked noise a little bit, but like the sound on them was super loud too. So during a match, like I could not hear anything else besides the game sound. But like in between rounds and stuff, or maybe if there's like a dull in the action or something, I could faintly like hear whatever the commentators were saying. But that said, at one point I did hear Ultra David, I think it was like, oh man, he went low 2 times in a row. Is he gonna go overhead? I'm like, all right, I'm going overhead. He got blocked. I'm like, fuck.
See, that's exactly the
So
factor that we were talking
me.
about.
Yeah, it
Definitely.
did affect me a little bit. So.
Well, I'm glad that you brought that up, that it affected you. So now that you've experienced it in that way, I mean, it was kind of a first time for a lot of people. So what do you think, as a player that was up there in general? Do you think that this is the way of the future? Because it's kind of an esports thing. What do you think?
I think if it brings a lot more like excitement and fun for the crowd, then I would do it. But it does have a slight negative effect on the players, I think.
Okay.
So it's a trade-off if you do it. It's not like it doesn't affect the players at all, but
yeah,
it might be worth it. Yeah.
Absolutely. What do you guys think? What do you think, Ricky?
Well, I'm like, I wouldn't like it as a player just because of like what Dizzy said, where, it kind of it plants outside noise into your mind, and it's like, oh man, overhead. He just said overhead. I'm gonna do overhead. It's like you don't want that. You don't want that as a player sometimes, but. It happens sometimes just with the crowd. The crowd always say shit, and then like, if the players hear it, they gotta deal with it. That's something we've dealt with. If it makes the at least in the crowd, if it makes the crowd more hype, like the people that are actually there, then it's good. But for me, I would want it to be so that no matter what, the players would not be able to hear the commentators, because in pretty much like in every professional aspect of sports, like the commentators are never heard by the actual players of the game. The crowd, maybe they'll hear it, maybe they won't, but the players almost never hear it, right? I don't think there is anything where they hear it unless they're like fucking wrestlers, and Jim Ross is yelling his
Yeah.
ass off.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, as a player, I wouldn't want the commentary to be on, but as a spectator, I'd be okay with it just because
Man,
that's how it is.
both sides of the fence, motherfuckers, huh?
Dude,
Okay, okay.
but it's coming from, because I'm looking at it from two different sides. But if you want me personally, I would say turn it off. Just
So what do you
because-
think of, but what I'm asking is for the future. Like, let's say CEO is coming up, right? Do you think they should do it or shouldn't do it? I personally think they should, but I wasn't a believer. But after Combo Breaker pulled it off, I don't know. For me, it seemed as though the crowd was just really more into all the top 8s. Just it felt that way.
Well, it also
what
has
do
to
you?
depend on the commentators too, though. Like you
But
definitely don't. You definitely don't want a fucking super biased guy sitting in the commentator saying he's not blocking this overhead part of the string. Like dropping hella hints and shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of aspects to it. What do you think? What are your thoughts on the whole thing, Rip?
I think they shouldn't have commentary unless they have player booths, soundproof booths.
So 100%, despite the fact that it could be a huge growth spurt or maybe an offline growth spurt, what I mean is like local viewership growth spurt, you still think that that's the thing, right? Because when I was asking people around, it was like the only 2 people it screws in the whole room is those 2 people sitting up there playing, and everyone else loves it. Now, those 2 people are obviously 2 of the most important people in the room because we're all here to watch them. So you kind of have to respect them as players. But on the other hand, those people are up there trying to win money because of popularity. And getting more people through the door and more people excited about it really is an important part of it too. So I think...
I disagree.
Go ahead.
I think that the stream viewership is the important part of it. And in the door, like that kind of growth, I don't think that that's nearly as important. And so I think like having the players play and having the stream being, entertained is great. And of course, like, if you raise the hype levels with your commentary in the venue and the venue looks more excited, then that carries over to the stream as well. But I mean, like I've been to WWE live events. There's no commentary there. So obviously I'm like, oh, it's still cool, but it would be cooler hearing Jim Ross or whatever yell their ass off right now, right? Same thing if you go to a basketball game or a football game, whatever. You don't hear the casting. And you're still excited about the game, and that's how it worked for all those major things, and they're not concerned about those things either, Sure.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the rationale is. Maybe if that's the case, let's say you're right about that, right? Then why even have the commentary over the house in the first place? There must be a reason they did it. I mean,
because it makes at Combo Breaker, I don't know, right? But I mean, I think it does make the venue more exciting for the people there. But I mean, how many people were at Combo Breaker? I mean, I'm gonna guess without even being there or seeing much of it, I would say maybe 500 inside the venue.
I heard 1,000.
Okay, and then on stream you had like 40,000
right
watching MKX, right? So I mean, there's no comparison there, right? And yeah, you made 1,000 people happy, but 40,000 people were already happy. I don't know. And instead you're hurting the tournament by affecting the players, right? I mean, Dizzy even said like, he heard about the mix. It was like, oh shit, should I do that? And it's like you're totally in the player's head. I mean, when you had described it to me before, you said that like the players couldn't even hear you, and apparently that wasn't the case now, right? So
right, I asked Slayer
it,
and I asked Michelangelo, and both of them said that they couldn't hear me at all. But Dizzy is the first one that said he actually not only could hear, but he made a decision based on what the commentators said. So
right, and he made it to grand finals, so he played the most games. So I trust him. What the other thing I was gonna say, I don't remember, so I'll get back to that later.
So you're not down with it? I mean, if the players can hear the commentary,
right?
It's
because this is exactly what I was thinking. I'm sorry, I remember now. It was last night I was commentating Wednesday Night Fights, and there's a stream delay, but the players can hear me, right?
Yeah.
And it was this round, and this Shinnok player, he was about 50% behind, whatever. And I was like, man, he's got full meter. If he gets like 2 more pokes in, he can just block string him to death. And then, sure enough, he gets those 2 pokes in the next 20 seconds, and then boom. Block strings him to death, and I was like, "Oh shit! Did I just tell him to do that? Because that was pretty good. Good shit, Rip. Good shit. But
taking credit for that guy's hard work, huh?
Dude, I mean, he pulled it off, But maybe if I hadn't said it, he wouldn't have did it. I don't know.
Well,
same concept though. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, but then, Ricky said it. We're fighting game players, and especially in some parts of the country, the crowd gets so rowdy. I mean, you're going to be praying that all you can hear is Eris and David. As opposed to these motherfuckers barking in your ear. They get so loud, it's like, dude, this is like
Yeah, but that's those are two different things though, because the crowd is just the crowd. You know, they're allowed to be there. They're allowed to be, you know, to do that. Whereas the commentators, not necessarily everyone can hear them. You know, so it's and the commentators are there to do a certain job, which is to, you know, say information and be
Right.
entertaining and all that shit. So it can be distracting, just like the crowd can be, you know. But the crowd is almost like the crowd's a necessary evil, almost in that sense. But the commentators, we haven't had to deal with that ever.
Yeah,
Like the only
yeah, go ahead.
the only way to me, like if you know soundproof, you know, booths or whatever, like I don't think that's gonna be very reasonable. If you just tell everyone you have to put these things on, you know, the headsets, and then just like pump up the volume, then
Yeah.
you know, then I might be okay with that, you know. But other than that, I'm not for it as a player.
Yeah, you know, up until Dizzy saying that right now, I was under the impression that we could not be heard
Yeah,
by
I mean,
the
if you
players.
can't hear them though, if the players can't hear them, I'm all for it. You know, just like if there's a way to make it so that they can never hear.
Yeah, I
But
think
that's not always the case.
I think that's a good middle ground. And if you don't want to wear the headphones, then you have to understand that you're going to be able to hear the commentators, and you know that's your call. That's like saying, okay, well, I don't want to wear the headphones. I think that's a good idea. I don't know what the real answer is behind how valuable the on-site attendee is versus the stream monster. You know, like who they really care about more or what. But I definitely, from being there and from talking to people before and after, it seemed like everyone really thought this was a special event because of that. All the spectators seemed like it was a big deal and very special. So, and I felt that way too, not only as a commentator, but as a spectator myself. So, I definitely think there's something there. I definitely think there's some kind of spark there and something that they can really replicate again in maybe perhaps a better way. I see it as being the future, but yeah, you're right. If the players are hearing about the mix-ups and they're like, "Oh yeah, good idea," boom, overhead. That's not good. You know, where all of us as players can agree with that. So okay. Other than that, I mean, personally, I thought Combo Breaker was super sick. I really enjoyed it. Deep dish for every meal. These random dudes came out of nowhere and gave me a hot dog. I mean, it was tight. It was like one of the most memorable experiences I've had I've been around fighting games for 15 years or whatever. I don't even know. And it was awesome. It was awesome for me. So, I don't know. You guys who didn't make it, I really have to say, take some time out and watch the top 8s this Saturday. Spooky's restreaming them. That's really dope of him to do because, as I said, they had internet issues at Combo Breaker. So that's this Saturday. His stream channel is twitch.tv/Team Spooky with zeros instead of O's. So mark your calendars. Now, all that shit said and done, let's get to interviewing GGA Dizzy here. So speaking of GGA, I went to that arcade and it was awesome. It was super awesome. Tell me about some of your competitive history when it comes to fighting games. You just mentioned Marvel. I think that's really interesting. So take it away. Where did you start off?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I played Street Fighter a bit, but I was never in it competitively. My first tournament I ever went to was UFGT 2011. And at that time, I was playing both Marvel 3 and MK9, like, equally, like, half my time for each of them. And I was only an online warrior then. And I got, like, maybe, like, 25th or something in probably both games. So I was probably, like, equally good in both of them. But I hung out with the MK guys a lot. I actually hung out with Michelangelo, and he was, like, super cool. And a lot of the local guys I had never met. And I was like, you know, this is awesome. I want to hang out with these guys. I'll play this game. So I pretty much stopped practicing Marvel then and just practiced MK9.
Now, is that as opposed to the Marvel players being dicks, or there just wasn't any Marvel players around?
Oh, there were Marvel players too, but I mean, the MK guys just seemed super friendly, and like they didn't care that I was just like you know, a nobody or whatever. Like
Right.
Michelangelo was like, you know, super top player at the time, and he was like, oh, hey man, you know, come and hang out in the hotel room and play casuals and stuff. And I was like, all right, shit.
Interesting. All right, shit. Yeah, yeah, right. I mean, that's kind of funny, you know. You don't think about this stuff, but don't be a dick, Rip. Anyway, okay. So moving on, let's talk a little bit about your credentials, because I want to hear about like what you feel like your biggest accomplishments were prior to Combo Breaker.
My best performances were probably in MK9. I won a couple majors. I won UFGT. What was it? 2013. I won one of the season's beatings. Can't remember what year. 2013 as well, maybe, or 2012. Either way. And then I actually won VXG, which Rip was
shit.
there. He was one of
Nice.
my opponents that I double
played you?
flawlessed. Yeah.
Damn, double flawless?
What character did you use?
I used Giant Cage, you used Noob and Scorpion.
Double flawless?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah. Dude, I thought no one was gonna be at that tournament. How was I supposed to know he was gonna be there? Go
You
on.
actually made it pretty far, actually. You
Yeah,
got like
just
9th or
shadows.
something.
Pretty
You got,
good.
like 13th
Christ.
or whatever. So that tournament wasn't like super stacked aside from the top 8. The top 8 had a lot of, like evil
And
finalists and top players. So I'm still pretty proud of it, even though Rip got far in the tournament.
Yeah, well, you double flawless. How do you? Wait a minute. Johnny Cage versus Noob. So that means he had to dodge like 4 clones to get in, and then
Oh, yeah,
flawless.
Start of the round and just punch me to death or some shit. I
It
don't
was
know.
the Scorpion that I double flawless,
Ah.
not the
Oh,
Noob.
there you go. That's why. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So now let's talk a little bit. So what are your thoughts on Injustice then?
I played it in the beginning of the game. I mean, it's alright, but I just didn't have fun playing it. I did decent in the beginning. I got like top 8 at UFGT that year, and I got like 17th at Evo or something. So I was pretty decent. If I stuck with it, I probably would have done fine. But I just didn't have fun practicing it, so I dropped it and just played like Hearthstone and shit.
Oh man, we almost lost one.
I know, close call.
Yeah.
I'm glad MKX came back
Right.
just in time.
I did play Killer Instinct as well and got a bunch of top 8s in that, but our local scene for it was literally non-existent. There was one guy that would come out to locals and I would play him, and that was it. And I just played it online. Honestly, I hate playing any game online. Like, the most fun for playing fighting games for me is like hanging out with people and playing, like in person. Even if the online's good, it's just boring to me. So
yeah, I totally agree with you. That's how I feel. My sentiments exactly. So now, speaking of MK10, let's get straight to the rumor mill, right? Everyone's talking all this shit. You just had this huge tournament. There's all this money on the line. All this drama starts. Good shit, a tester won. Good shit, he's a fucking cheater. So this is great because I don't know if you know, I'm not on Facebook, and I don't like to read. So my internet is going to have to be spoken internet. And what better way to get to the bottom of this than get Dizzy on the podcast and ask the horse's weird mouth. What is the deal with you being a cheater? Are you a cheater?
I guess depends on what definition you mean, because I worked on the game.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. To what degree did you work on the game?
So I worked there, I don't know how much I can say, but I think I can say I worked there part-time. I have a full-time job as a software designer at something not related to video games at all.
Cool.
So I worked there part-time for about like 2 months as a QA guy. So I worked there like in February I started. So I worked there for like 2 months and some change.
Okay. And prior to that, you have not worked there, right?
Nope, I had never worked there before. So I started like, I think I can say when I started at least. I started like, I think literally the day before the outside testers came.
The
Like,
others.
Rio and all them, yeah.
First of all, let me make one thing clear. I don't want you to say anything that's going to get yourself in trouble. So if I ask you a question that you can't answer, just tell me to go fuck myself.
Sure.
That being said, so what about the rumor of you quitting your job 3 days before the tournament to then be able to compete? Is there any truth to that?
I don't know if I can say exactly what was going on, but I was there under contract to work during overtime hours because normally they don't work nights and weekends. I was only there to kind of help during the crunch time. So when there is no longer overtime, I am no longer needed type thing.
Okay.
So I don't know if you could really say I quit, but kind of was like no more time to work there type thing, if that makes sense.
They didn't have hours for you.
Right.
Okay. One more question. How much influence do you feel you had on the development of the game?
Okay, so I'm not sure what I can say I worked on exactly, but I can say this. At one point for 2 weeks straight, I had never played a versus match.
Okay.
And I never played a human being for 2 weeks at one point, and I can say that I know more about Jackie's fatalities and brutalities than probably anyone in the world ever will.
Okay. Pretty funny.
Oh man, I understand exactly how he feels now.
Um,
So that basically means he had for at least 2 weeks he was just testing the shit out of those things forever.
Okay. Now, if you boys have any questions, feel free to jump in. Because I mean, for me, I feel like you're gonna get in trouble if you say anything further, right? Yeah, my stance on it really is, at this point, they're never gonna ban testers, right? There's never gonna be a rule on that. What are your feelings on the whole ban the testers thing, Dizzy?
well, I think it's fair to say, if you've played the game early, you have an advantage. I mean, no one can really dispute that.
Sure.
I don't think the advantage is that severe or anything. Maybe if you were like a designer of the game or something, that would be super sketchy, like, oh, I'm balancing the game and playing type thing or something. That'd be pretty weird, but I mean, if you want to say if you've ever worked on the game, you're a cheater and you should be banned, then, that's, I mean, it makes a little sense, but it's also kind of harsh. I mean, there's also all the 2 week testers who their only job while there was to play the game competitively with each other. So, I mean, there's a lot of people who played the game early, not as long as I did, but probably more competitively focused for the time they were there. Considering I was also I was only there when I could be there since I was part-time.
Right. Yeah, that's really interesting because, I mean, at this point, there's so many degrees of testing. As you said, you're sitting there rinsing and repeating brutalities and shit, while on the other hand, these guys are flown out and they're just like grinding away versus matches. I think, to me, my personal stance on it, and we'll go all the way around asking you guys, but my stance on it is, at a tournament like Northwest Majors, for sure ban the testers. 9 days after the game comes out, I think the advantage of being able to play for 2 weeks before it comes out is huge. But a tournament like Combo Breaker, I mean, the game's been out for over a month now, and whatever advantage you had prior to the game's release, I think more or less, like you said, it's a little harsh, to ban a tester at that point. So, I mean, I think for the future, perhaps it would be better if there's maybe like a 2 week ban on testers. What are your thoughts? We'll go all the way around. What do you think, Rip?
I think it should be like a month ban. I think, the 2 week thing is, they got 2 weeks, so you give them 2 weeks back. Like, I don't think that it works like that because then they got another 2 weeks on your 2 weeks. So I think a month is a pretty good range where everyone's kind of on the same page. I still think even after a month, they still have a slight advantage, just because, familiarity, like, oh yeah, I'm looking at my stamina meter now, but those guys still aren't looking at their stamina meter. And that sort of thing still helps them out. But, I think a month is like pretty fair. But yeah, 1 month for me is good enough.
Okay, your thoughts, Ricky?
Ban them forever.
Forever. Kill them. Forget banning them. We should just have them killed. Guillotine these motherfuckers.
I actually don't care. I'm okay with them playing first week even, just because
from the beginning.
Yeah, because realistically, you want if you're MK, I would hope that they would want their game to be played at a a nice high play level, and so the first couple weeks, who better to show off the game than the testers,
right? Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be up against like a ban or anything like that, but I'm not gonna like rally the troops for it either.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah,
And
going back.
go ahead.
Sorry, going back to Northwest Majors though. Ricky's right. Like, it was a lot. It was pretty cool to see what was capable in the game from the testers.
True. True. Definitely. Okay. What do you think, Dizzy? Let's
I
say
think
the next Mortal Kombat comes out. What should the rule be?
I think there should be a grace period. Definitely. Probably between 2 weeks and a month would be good. I would say closer to a month would probably be better. Because if you're a tester, there's definitely diminishing returns on whatever as time goes on. It's not like if you have 2 weeks, with the game early, then you're 2 weeks ahead. It's people are like, I can't even say how much that I've actually learned from just watching streams of people play. Like, way more than I've ever learned working there, that's for sure, about competitive Mortal Kombat. So there should definitely be some banning that happens, I guess, for a short period of time, but how much I can't really say. I don't know. It's up to the TOs or whoever decides it.
Yeah, it sounds like we're pretty much all in agreement, except for Ricky. He wants no ban ever. But I mean,
no ban or all ban. On the extremes of both sides.
okay.
I want
All right,
kill
fair
them
enough.
or let them rock, whatever.
Both sides of the fence.
Extreme
Okay.
fences, though.
Okay. So let's move on and talk a little bit more about just the game in general. Your thoughts on the game, your views about the game. I mean, let's start at the top. You picked Raiden. Is this a character that you gravitated towards in the beginning when you first started playing the game, when you were testing, or how did you pick this character?
Yeah, that's one thing that I want to mention, that I think I can say at least. Before the game came out, I had never even selected Raiden on the character select screen.
You mean during your testing?
Right. I had not been assigned anything with them or whatever, But after the game came out, I saw some people playing Raiden, and I was like, oh, this looks kind of cool. And he's kind of like, when a game comes out, there's like maybe, like 6 characters or whatever, just pulling that number out of my ass, but a couple characters where I'm like, this character's cool. This will be one of the characters that I look at to see if I want to main, because I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, I want to main this one character, I'm gonna play him regardless if he's good or bad.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'll choose like a handful of characters, and whichever one's the best or probably top tier, I'll play that one, and that's just that's how I decided to main. So I went through a bunch, and I was kind of deciding between Raiden and Kung Jin, and I was like, I think Raiden's probably better, maybe better, so I'll go with him.
And who did you said I went through a couple characters. Who did you drop? Who got scrapped?
Well, the main one everyone asks about is Johnny Cage, because I played him in MK9 as my main. I was known as like probably the best Johnny Cage player. So I tried him out, and while he's solid, he's decent. He's probably a mid-tier character, but his playstyle is very honest. And in the beginning of a game, honest characters do not do so well in tournament play. If you don't have some sort of oppressive or like good general game plan that works against all the casts, you're gonna have trouble in a 2 out of 3. So I'm like, well, I want to do well in the beginning. So I mean, I can always go back to Cage later if depending on how the game plays out. But if I want to do well in the beginning, gotta go with good offense character.
Let me do a quick backtrack here. So wait a minute. I know earlier we were talking about the whole 3 days before the tournament started thing, and you ran out of hours or whatever. They didn't have hours for you to work. But is it correct that you were unable to play in competitive tournaments prior to running out of hours? Did this guy just get muted?
Whoa. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh, I think I hit this button or whatever.
It's okay.
I am not sure if
Basically, what I'm
I can
asking
say
is,
anything,
can you
but
enter in tournaments if you're testing there?
I don't believe so, but I'm not sure. I don't obviously don't work there anymore. Oh, there's another rumor that
Uh-huh.
I want to debunk that
Sure.
people have been saying
That's why you're
is
here.
that they sent me in to go win the tournament and then would hire me again.
So you're an NRS
Uh,
cop?
Yeah, so and that definitely did not happen, and I am definitely not working at NRS.
Okay.
Like I said, I was only there to work overtime hours,
There's
and
a picture of him handing Ed Boon a check somewhere.
Yeah, times
On
are
the
really
internet.
tough over there at Warner Brothers, so you had to win back their pop bonus for them. Okay, yeah, makes perfect sense. Conspiracy theory city. Okay, I think. Go ahead. Go ahead.
oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, I mentioned I've been working at my current full-time job for like 4 years now, and definitely am not some guy who is full-time testing it for 9 months or whatever people were saying.
Yeah.
That definitely did not happen. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is part of the reason why I wanted to have you on here. The rumors are getting so absurd. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? Is this guy a cheater or what? So, from the sound of it, I really don't feel like there is that much cheating going on. I feel like the amount of cheating that went on at Northwest Majors was way more robust and pungent than the amount of cheating at Combo Breaker, and that's only because the game has been out for so long. So I don't know. I really feel like you're expunged of all your crimes, if they even happened, or if you can even call them that. Even though Raiden's fucking cheap, so to some degree, I think you should be held responsible for spamming the shit out of that forward 1-2. That being said, let's talk about Raiden a little bit. It seems like everyone agrees Raiden is super buff. Kung Jin, second place, most people agree. They both got normalized. Now, personally, I started playing Raiden right after Northwest Majors, and I learned about all that cheap stuff, right? And then they normalized him. So, historically for me, I've had a lot of trouble with them nerfing characters that I use, right? So this time around, I thought, all right, if they're going to normalize Raiden, I'm just going to abandon ship, right? And it turns out they didn't normalize him too hard, right? So chances are they will strike again. Now, what I'm wondering is, do you feel like Raiden is in danger of normalization? I mean, how do you feel about playing him in the future from this point on?
Well, if you win, an early tournament in a way that is kind of annoying to deal with, I think you're in trouble as far as character-wise. But it doesn't always happen. It's not like the designers over there can't see how play will evolve. And like for example, forward 1-2, the string I was using a lot in top 8 and throughout the tournament. On block, it's only -3. If you do it again, it's really hard for some characters to get out of. But what you can actually do is any character in the game can reversal back throw you, and it will beat out your follow-up forward 1-2, which no one was doing for some reason. I guess they probably just didn't know. But yeah, reversal back throw will work. Reversal forward throw will not.
Why is
Not
that?
exactly sure why. I think back throw might come out 1 frame faster, but I've never tested it.
Okay.
But either way, that's one thing you can do, and you might have seen Pig of the Hut get his bacon handed to him by MIT, and he got the run back in a hotel room, 1-3, and he beat him 3-1 actually after knowing about that. So it's kind of interesting.
Okay.
Because I was trying to talk to him about that afterwards, and he wasn't really hearing anything of it, He's like,
Surprise.
I was like, will you apologize if I told you that you could have reversal back throwed and got out of it? And he was like, no, I will never apologize for what happened or something. So it's pretty funny.
Okay, let me ask you a little bit more about. Okay, so you said you won a major tournament in a kind of obviously hard to deal with way, as you put it. Now, does that mean you feel like they're gonna normalize Raiden? And if so, in what way do you think they will? I mean, you were mentioning it a little bit before the show, and I didn't want spoilers. So go ahead.
I think like there's definitely he probably deserves at least some change. He's very strong contender for the best in the game, I think. One way to nerf him, I think, that would give characters a way. An easier way to deal with it would be to make forward 1 to -5 instead of -3. That way it'd be easier to poke out for the characters that already can, and for the characters that only have like 1 or 2 frames to, then you have like a 3 or 4 frame window.
Yeah.
So that's pretty decent. I mean, there's more drastic changes you can make. Obviously, you could make his overhead always unsafe, so you can't do the option select type thing. Or you could make the forward one a high instead of mid, or slow it down. You could go a bunch of different avenues, but I think that nerf would be making it -5 would be fair to Raiden players and the opponents.
And there's no question that the variation of Raiden is like none of the other ones even come close to the what's it called, Master of whatever the fuck it's called, the good one.
The good one's Thunder God.
Yeah, none of the other ones even come close, right?
I don't think so, because he gains his lightning strings in the other
Right.
one, and those are awesome meter build, awesome for hit confirms. It gives him a safe low that he can use. Mostly safe. There's a few characters that can punish it. And he can stop his lightning ball, which I actually never used in the top 8, but it's actually really good.
Right.
So
Yeah. It's super
that's
good.
something I'll use probably more often.
Go ahead.
But yeah, the Master of Storms actually looks like it might be pretty good. He gains a new string in the other 2 variations. It's +2 on block, and it's you can like cancel a lightning ball a lightning trap from it, and I think it's like a slightly minus when you do that. So if you place like a lightning trap behind you, make them block the string, and then do that lightning ball or lightning trap again, then they have to respect the lightning trap. So
Right.
it's kind of interesting. It might be good.
Okay. Now, we were talking about how the Bongjitsu variation of Kung Jin might be the one, one of the contenders for a top character. Now, what do you think about that character? Do you feel like the normalization really hit him hard? Or, I mean, obviously we had 2 in top 8, so that was the only repeat character we had in top 8 at Combo Breaker. So, I mean, what do you think about that character? You think that character's still top tier?
The thing about Kung Jin is he is probably the easiest top character to play. He's got a very straightforward game plan. There's not really much execution to him. His armor, he's got really good armor moves. A mid that is safe on block that does like 15%, and a mid launcher that's unsafe on block. So you can just use those willy-nilly, and they kind of just got to respect him too. But yeah, I think he's definitely still a top character. The nerfs did hit him a bit, not too bad. I'd say before he was probably like top 5 for sure, and now maybe just outside it. Who knows? But he's definitely up there still. He's definitely a top character.
Okay. Now, what I want to ask you is, you mentioned how you thought Injust Ass sucked, right? Well, let me ask
Not
you.
in those words, but
Right. I'm paraphrasing here, but let me ask you a little bit about Mortal Kombat 10 as a game, as a sequel to Mortal Kombat 9, which was your first competitive game. So, to me, when I look at Mortal Kombat 10, a lot of things have changed. A lot of the ideas as far as character archetypes have become more linear. To me, the game revolves more about in close, rock'em sock'em robots, armor, decision making like that, and 50-50s. Now, that's not a bad thing, and actually, considering the rules of the game, I think it functions under those rules really well. But I can see how people who, let's say, are fans of keep out or zoning or things of that sort might get a little butthurt. So, right now, what are your thoughts about Mortal Kombat as far as game design and direction of the series? What do you think about the game as it stands?
Well, one thing that's great about NRS, I think, is every game they make plays totally different. There's no like, well, this is Mortal Kombat, so it's gotta, play like the last one. They're like, screw it, we're just gonna go apeshit and do whatever we want, So, if they make Mortal Kombat 11 or Injustice 2 or whatever, I think they'll just play nothing like the other ones, and that's pretty cool. People can get into it with not much, legacy skill in it, and it kind of evens the playing field in the
Do you really
beginning.
think that? I mean, think about that. Do you really think that legacy skill is not a factor in MK10?
Well, a 13-year-old got ninth, so maybe.
Okay, okay, fair enough, fair enough. But wait a minute. Who's the
How many-
13-year-old? Forever King's little brother? Come
Yeah,
on, I think
but
that's a little bit of
wait.
legacy there.
Yeah, I suppose legacy, as in he has is
His
blood
brother's
related to
legacy.
someone.
Yeah, exactly. Boom.
Well, it's most of the engine quirks. When NRS, like the type of things to look for in an NRS engine. That's the main thing. It's not it's not necessarily the mechanics specifically of the game. It's more of the input system and stuff.
Okay. So now, okay, I agree with you. The play style is totally different in this game as a umbrella statement. But are you happy with the direction it's going in personally? Do you prefer this, or I mean, you were a Johnny Cage player, so I'm sure you do, right?
Yeah, I prefer rushdown and offense much
Right.
more to zoning strategies. Especially the zoning in NRS games tends to be very lock you down full screen oppression.
Yeah.
Where you can't really move and stuff. It can get pretty brutal, and I'm not a fan of that type of zoning. Like Dalsum type zoning is kind of like, it's pretty interesting, but generally in NRS games you get you get blasted full screen by spirit charges and stuff, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh god,
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
like that.
blame you. Okay, okay. Now, let's talk a little bit about a few of the other characters in the game. I asked a lot of people at Combo Breaker this question. Who do you feel like is secret top tier? I got a lot of people saying that they thought Ferrator. I got some other people saying Liu Kang. Who do you feel like is the most, or who do you feel like are some of the most underrepresented top tier characters in your eyes?
One character I definitely have to call out as being top tier that I feel like is going under the radar, and I feel is actually probably either number one or number two beside Raiden, is Devora.
Wow.
Okay.
Number 1 or number 2?
Wow.
Mhm.
Can you
Uh,
explain?
I can give some examples of why I think that. So she has a very good footsies tool, forward one. It's like a shoulder check.
Mhm.
And if you hit forward 1-1, you can hit confirm it into a EX bug grenade, which gives you a combo. And block, you do forward 1-2-2. And you do a bug, you can run cancel it, and you're at about plus 20, so you get an uninterruptible 50-50,
Mhm.
which you do another bug cancel into. And if you do the overhead, you're still at advantage if they block, and if they hit, if it hits, you get a combo. And with the low, you're safe, but you also get a combo. So you basically, your footsie's tool, if it hits, you get a combo. If it's blocked, you get an uninterruptible 50-50. And it has very good range. And her other footsie's tools, her overhead and her down four, are also extremely good. And mainly her footsies and her 50-50s are just great. And if you don't have meter in the corner, she can do that string forward 1-2-2 and or forward 1-1-2, and it's just as bad as Raiden, where you have to respect it.
Right. I saw a video just, you mentioning all the stuff on block, and I feel like the game's evolving in that way where it's like, oh, wait a minute, that's a block string? Whoa, that's a true block string? So the other day I just noticed seeing something about Aaron Black having true block strings where it has to do with that Razor Rushdown string he has. Is this for real? Like, he can infinitely build meter and lock you down with that string? It's the variation where he has a gun. What's it called? Gunlord? Gunlord Aaron Black.
Gunslinger.
Yeah, and so he pulls it out, he crouches down, cancels it, and does the Razor Rushdown again, and it's just like Raiden. He's building a shitload of meter. Do you know anything about that?
I haven't seen that one because everyone I know says that variation is butt. So
Okay, okay.
I've
Yeah, I
never
don't
seen
know.
that tech. So that'd
Yeah,
be
I
interesting
saw
if true.
someone linked me to it. It was a video where it was just the Razor Rushdown string and then a gun cancel over and over, and the guy was like set to do X-ray or some shit. I don't know. I don't know what the deal was, but
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. I'm not sure if that is a true block string, but it might be very cheap in the corner.
Very hard to get out of. Yeah, it really seems like those dash cancels, and we're seeing Scorpion dash cancels and all this stuff. Really, that's like the future, wouldn't you? Would you agree that that's the future of the game?
Oh, kind of. I mean, you don't have to have those cancels to be a top character. I mean, for example, Kung Jin doesn't have any run cancels like that. It's all of them are just specific to a character's variation, and there's some characters that kind of aren't that great or considered lower tier that have those cancels. So I think they're kind of independent of each other, but it's a great thing to have as the game goes on because you can create a lot of mind games with it, or more mix-ups or just combo extension. They
pressure
provide a lot of benefit.
Yeah, it definitely seems like that is at least going to be a tool that people explore further. The more and more I see the game age, the more I see people trying to lean towards that type of offense, at least when it's available to them. What was the other thing? Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask you, you mentioned some characters don't have it and they're the weaker characters. So what are the shitty characters in your opinion? I hear about this very often, too. The worst character in the game. I had heard that Takeda was the worst character in the game, and looky look, this guy's ruining buttholes on top 8. Go ahead. Who do you think sucks in this game, Dizzy?
I will say Takeda is definitely not even bad. He's just a mid-tier character, Sometimes if you only fight top-tier characters and you use a mid-tier character, you might be like, oh my god, my character's butt. But it's like, how about you fight some low-tier characters and destroy them, and then you'll see what it's really like type thing.
Okay.
But as far as low-tier, I would say Katana is very possibly the worst in the game. I mean, if you look at her tools, she has a very slow overhead that only does 9% into a knockdown. So that automatically right there is like, well, she's not a 50-50 character. Her low combo starter off single hit is unsafe, which she just got in this patch actually. So before she didn't even have that. So that says something. Her strings are all, for the most part, really minus on block. It's pretty rough. I'm not sure exactly why, but
someone called her Shitana. That's what I chuckled at. Go on.
Her damage is okay, so if you can get the opponent to make a bunch of mistakes, that's good. But I feel like people who, if you're losing to Katana, you're losing to gimmicks often, or you're making mistakes. She has to really just use throw to open you up, and if that's all you can do, your character's mix-ups aren't very good when you're getting blasted by 50-50s by everyone else. So.
Yeah, it makes sense to me, and I definitely, I was mentioning about keep out in this game. I feel like a character like Katana, there are so many really good armor moves that fly all the way across the screen. Her fireballs are really not nearly as dangerous as they used to be in MK9, in my opinion. And just in general, I think that's kind of an interesting observation. I didn't think you'd say the worst character in the game. I mean, but she seems, I don't know, I'm surprised. I'm really optimistic when it comes to characters. Generally, I don't like to dismiss them as shitty, especially because you're going to end up being like the guy who looks like a douchebag, right, when someone makes top 8 with Takeda, right? So, I mean, it's better to believe than it is to dismiss. But, so you're pretty confident in Shitana, huh?
Right. That's the only character that I'd really point out as being this character's tools are pretty weak compared to the rest of the cast. Before this most recent patch, I would have actually said Shinnok. He was, I mean, his mix-ups were abysmal as well. We have a very good Shinnok player locally, GGA Max, and I would play him before, and all he had was lower throw, and I literally just took the throw any single time he got me in a situation like that, and I was just like, I don't care, like, throw me, please.
It's a great strat. I mean, of course, it makes perfect sense. Max damage is what? I guess if he's buffed, it's 16%,
16,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
But now he has that overhead, so I think that boosted him a lot, especially considering he has the mimicry, which is the restand.
Right.
He gets a free 50-50 or throw off of that now.
Yeah, standing reset. I
pretty
was tinkering with him too. Yeah, you're right. That was a huge buff. So, okay, let's talk a little bit more about characters, though, because I am interested in your thought process. Now, a minute ago, when you said you were explaining to me why Katana sucks, the order of things in which you went in kind of gives me a glimpse at how you look at a character, right? So, first thing you said is overhead. What does it do, right? And then you were like low. What does it do, right? So basically, is that what you're looking for in a character? I mean, as we mentioned, this game kind of has its own style of up-close offense mix-ups. So I guess that answers that, right? You as a player are looking for reward and risk off of mix-ups in this game. Am I correct?
Yeah, definitely. Footsie's tools are also important, but if you can't get that damage when you get in, you're in trouble if you fight a character that can, because a lot of times they will inevitably block one of your attacks eventually and be at advantage right in your face. And if they can then do a strong mix-up to you, then you're in trouble. So.
Right. So it's all a matter of getting the damage out of that situation. Now, okay, let's talk more about good characters. So another popular one is Quan Chi. What do you think about Quan Chi in general?
I think he's very strong. He's also one of those characters that I feel like is a top 5, contender. Not sure where he lands exactly, but his offense is extremely strong. His main drawback is that his only armored move is one of the worst ones in the game when he's not in Warlock. And his other variations like Summoner and Sorcerer. But even given that, I think since his offense is so strong that it doesn't even matter that much. I mean, it definitely matters, but it's like he can, basically flawless you a lot of the times just from his offense.
So it's all or nothing.
Right. Once people start incorporating option selects more, he's going to be even stronger, because I don't think any of the Quan Chi players are yet.
Can you elaborate on that?
Okay, so for example, I'll give a basic one that I don't think I've seen anyone use. So a lot of times people just use back 2, which is his overhead, into low rune, and then EX it, and you're at advantage. But it costs a bar. Let's say you don't have a bar, you kind of just have to do back 2 YOLO trance. I would say Quan Chi players should start using back 2 option select trance, and on block nothing comes out when you have meter, because when you have meter, there's no way they're letting go of block, because they expect you to do the EX rune. They're just like, oh, this dude's gonna do overhead rune, and it's only -12, so you have to let go of block immediately to be able to punish his overhead.
Right.
Like immediately, you can't see that he did trance or can't see that he did rune or whatever. So you can get away with back 2, free back 2s a lot like that.
Well, how do you option select that? What's the command?
Okay. So to get a move on a hit but not on block, you do back 2, back 2, and then back forward 3 very quickly, which is the trance input, and then you can cancel it by inputting a direction right before the block stun would start. So in this game, hit stun is shorter than block stun. So if you input a move to come out during the hit stun, but then cancel it before the block stun starts, then the move will not come out on block.
You're a cheater, man. You're a cheater. Okay, I got you. That's cheating. I got you. So is that basically what you're going for with the back 2 shocker?
Yeah, it's kind of. I mean, back 2 shocker is you only want it to come out on block, not on hit. So to do that, you just input shocker heavily delayed.
Right.
So the block stun is a couple frames longer than the hit stun. So you just time it perfectly so you get it during those couple of frames of extra frames of block stun. It's kind of tight, but as you can see, if you practice it, you can get it down. I think the ones on hit are probably easier because you have more leniency, because you only need the input on hit at some point. You don't need to be like, oh, you have to time it specifically on this, these few frames. It's kind of like you can dial it out super fast and then hit your, extra direction to cancel it out later.
So this option select that you mentioned with Quan Chi, this is a universal option select, right? It's a system function that you can apply for all characters.
Right, many characters that have unsafe 50/50s that you just have to YOLO, you can do that, and sometimes the normals themselves are punishable.
Right.
But a lot of times, if people are used to, a follow-up chain in it, or, people just doing the special afterwards, they're not used to it because they have to let go of block immediately. So once they know you're doing the option select, you can kind of mix up doing the YOLO version and not YOLO version, and
Right.
you might get a free combo anyways. So
Very
it's,
interesting.
yeah,
Okay.
it's kind of cool.
So hold on, just going back to that cancel. Like I've heard a couple different variations of it. Like I've heard you hit like down down block or down forward block or something like that. And so you're telling me it's just any directional input.
Yes,
Once.
you only need to put one directional input in. Anything else is kind of like you're trying to make it easier on yourself by just flooding the input. Like it's kind of like like if you're mashing DP or something when when someone's doing a block string. It's like, well, I don't really know the timing, but it'll probably come out.
Yeah.
So I prefer just pressing the direction once and just learning the timing. But when you first start off doing it, you can kind of spin your stick around and you'll probably get it actually. So.
Well, okay, it looks like people are asking. Can you just step by step go through the command? So it's back to, take it away.
Sure. Okay, so you input back to before the attack even hits the opponent. Hit back forward 3.
Gotcha. Which is the trance.
And which is trance. So basically, right as it's hitting the opponent, then you can hit down. And if it hit your opponent, the trance would have come out. But if it's blocked, then it got canceled by the down motion, so only back 2 came out, and you're just stuck, recovering from the back 2.
That's a huge deal. I think that's a really huge deal in this game, and I think that's really cool that you brought it up. I don't even think that I was 100% sure on how that function worked, and I think that's a game changer. So very cool, very cool.
Definitely.
Okay, so we talked about some of the good characters. We talked about some of the shitty characters. Are there any characters in the game that you think maybe you want to talk about? It seems like you're pretty knowledgeable considering all those months and months of painstaking testing you did over there at NRS. Is there any other characters that you want to give the spotlight to? Maybe that don't get a lot of attention, or maybe that you think are really shitty, or anything like that?
Let me think.
Everyone always says, I'll bring a few up. Everyone always says that Kenshi sucks. Does Kenshi suck?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay, okay.
Because I'm friends with Pig of the Hut, and he's the main, the ringleader of the Kenshi sucks movement.
Okay.
I think Kenshi, while he's probably like mid tier or low mid tier, he's definitely not like shit. He's not like, oh, he can't compete and stuff. He's a little more unsafe than most characters. And in 2 of his variations, one of his variations, he doesn't really have an overhead. The other one, his overhead's kind of crap. His 3rd variation, Kenjutsu, has an overhead, but it's punishable by throw, at least by all characters by throw, and some characters can combo punish it. So it's probably more unsafe than he wants it to be, but I think he definitely has the tools to win. It's just one of those characters where you're probably gonna have to outplay your opponent. You might have 4 6s, but they might seem like 3 7s or 2 8s when you don't know the match in the beginning of the game. So you fight a character that is oppressive, dominating offense, and you don't know the match. You're gonna be like, what the hell do I do? This character sucks, but there might be some answers. So
someone in the chat just called him Ken shit. So so I think if your name can change into shit somehow, you're a bad character. Yeah.
Okay. Other people are asking about different characters, and I'm really curious. There's so many characters in the game, and I'd like to hear your opinion on a few. So we might as well throw a few out there. What are your thoughts on Reptile? What are your thoughts on Melina?
Okay, sure. So I'll start with Melina. She has an issue of her overhead being super slow. It's like 30-something frames, so without a doubt reactable. Her only other overhead is her EX roll. So it costs meter and is punishable. And that's it's a fine overhead. It's not reactable. It's fast. It has armor, like, that's great. But one thing that will help her a lot is the option selects, because right now to do the low, you also have to go ham. Use the is it back or forward four? Forward four is a low, and you just do forward four roll, and you're just like, all right, well I hope it hits. But option selecting that, you can have the rest of the chain come out, which is a forward 4-4, which is a safe chain. So that's great. So that will help a lot. Recently, in the most recent patch, her telekick was changed. It used to be minus on hit. Now it is like plus whatever. It's like you can get a free forward 4 check. So it's way better. And her low side also used to be minus on hit.
Takashi Takeda. Sorry. Go on.
I mean, that's all I really had to say. I'm not too sure where she is going to end up, but she's probably not a top character by any means, but I think she can hold her own.
Okay, and the other one was Reptile.
Reptile,
which is weird because I've fought Reptile a lot. PBJ, a local player, uses them a lot, but I feel like I still don't even know that much about him. It's strange. It seems like everyone plays him differently, so I don't really know what the optimal strategy for him is. Like, I don't really know what his game plan is. I mean, he's got a safe overhead, safe low, with the option select. So you'd think, well, that's good, right? Shouldn't that be good enough? But it seems like no one's really doing work with him, so...
I played a Reptile online yesterday, and it felt like he hit me like 19 or 20 times. And I looked at the damage, and it was like 50%. And I'm like, wow, he did all that cool shit, and I'm still kicking his ass with like 3 hits.
Yeah, the damage output is definitely... It seems low at this point. Okay. And what about you guys? Rip, Rixta, are there any character-related questions you have for this guy? I mean, while we have him here, we might as well get
we can talk about our mains.
Yeah, sure.
I want to know about Cassie, because I feel like Cassie's really strong, but I feel like she has a lot of, well, not big holes, but there's holes in her game.
Yeah, go ahead, Dizzy.
I think Cassie's really strong. She's also one of those characters that is a top 5 contender. If not, she's almost certainly, in the top 10. She's got great tools, She has an overhead that, again, you can make safe via option selecting. Her low is always unsafe, though, her low launcher. So that's kind of interesting. Not sure if that's going to hold her back, but her footsies are ridiculously good. So that will help a lot. She out-footsies a lot of characters, I think. And her armored flip kick, the EX flip kick, is great for blowing up cross-ups, blowing up jump-ins, and just using as an armored move since it's safe mid-screen. And you also get a combo after it, which is awesome. But yeah, she might have some problem matchups. But one thing, Rip, don't you main Scorpion?
I do.
She probably destroys Scorpion, because she is the only character in the game that can punish his overhead forward too. She can punish it with reverse flip kick.
Just the flip kick with no meter, huh?
Yeah,
it's 5 frames.
It's the fastest move in the game. So.
Are you serious?
Yeah, so that matchup is probably horrible for Scorpion because his overheads are always unsafe.
Okay, well, Ricky's not that good.
That's another character I wanted to ask you about, because Scorpion seems weird this time around. In MK9, Scorpion was so straightforward. He was like a really honest character in that game, and then this game, he's all over the place, and I don't even know what to think about the character. What are your thoughts on the character?
Weird Scorpion. So if MK9 is regular Scorpion, MKX is weird Scorpion.
Yeah, definitely.
Scorpion is great. His damage is ridiculous in Hellfire. People have figured out some combos where you can use Flame Aura in it twice, and then you can do you get the standing reset, and then you do 2-1-4 run cancel, 2-1-4 run cancel, and it's a true block string, and you're doing chip from that and from the Flame Aura, and so you get like something like 15% chip or something that they can't get out of, and it's pretty crazy, especially since 2-1-4 dash cancel, not even run cancel, just dash cancel is plus on block.
+5.
So, yeah. So you can use that if they think you're gonna run cancel. They're like, oh, I can't poke now, so you do the dash cancel instead. And dash canceling makes you regenerate your stamina super fast afterwards. So
Yeah, it's a pretty good loop.
Yeah,
You
that's
can
a pretty
backdash it,
strong
though,
strategy.
in the
Right,
open.
right. If you know it's coming, you can
Yeah.
definitely get out of it. The dash cancel, but the run cancel, you just have to hold that. It's a true block
Yeah.
strat.
Let me ask you this. I mean, you mentioned that you think Kung Jin fell out of the top 5, but what do you think? What right now is your top 5 in the game?
All right, so it's kind of tough because I think there's a lot of like top 5 contenders. The only ones I think I know for sure that are in top 5 are Raiden and Devora. Other ones that I would put in there, I'd probably go with Quan Chi. Probably Sub-Zero.
Still, even after all the nerfs and Tom Brady bitching.
Those nerfs, honestly, those nerfs didn't change that much, I think. And then I'll talk about Sub-Zero in a second. Let's see. I gotta put one character in
Sonya?
there, but yeah, Sonya's also a contender for it. But I guess I'll just put Kung Jin in there. I'll just say he's 5th. But I mean, I feel like there's a lot of characters that could shift around in that top 5 a lot, so it's hard to pin it down. But I want to talk about one match I saw with Sub-Zero this weekend. Denzel Terry used him in top 16, I think, or top 32. I can't remember. But he managed to beat someone a whole match without using Ice Clone in Grandmaster Sub-Zero, and it was a good player. I can't remember who it was off the top of my head. I think it might have been Pig. I'm not sure. Either way, I think that people are focused on the Ice Clone too much. It's a great tool that you should use, definitely. That's its best variation, I think. But you should make them fear you activating the Ice Clone. Like, I don't have an Ice Clone out, so you can't jump. It's not on cooldown. It's not on the screen somewhere else.
Yeah.
I can Ice Clone at any time. If you happen to run forward and try and do a footsies move or something, or check me, well, what if I had just happened to throw out Ice Clone at that second? Then you get caught.
Right.
And I can also cancel and do it at any point. Those are punishable a lot of time with armor, but you kind of have to be looking for it, especially, if you do like a max range down 4 into Ice Clone or whatever. And the EX Ice Clone is also totally safe, so you can also play a mind game with that if you want. So I think a lot of times the Sub-Zero players are too focused on having a clone on screen at all times, as opposed to using the threat of doing a clone at any moment to scare your opponent into not pressing any buttons.
That's definitely an interesting take on it. You're totally right about that. They're always talking about leaving one on screen, but it should be treated as though it's a threat. I could see that. Very interesting. Was that it, or was there more?
Oh, that's just all I want to talk about. Yeah.
Okay, excellent, excellent. Unless you boys have anything else to ask about as far as characters go, I kind of want to ask a little bit more about GGA. I mean, it's your team that you play under. It's also an arcade. I was there. It was my first time. I had only read the lore about GGA. I got there, and for me, it was actually really cool because I grew up in those types of arcades, and it really retains the feel of that type of an arcade. It smells like that warm particle board kind of like wood smell because of all the cabinets. I loved it. The thing that was the real cool gimmick to me was each one of the arcade machines has like a little tag, and it shows the world record for that game as well as the local GGA record for that game. And I thought it was just such a cool, charming place. They gave me a bottle of fucking Billy Mitchell hot sauce, so I had to have ESOM ship it for me because I can't fly with hot sauce, I guess. But tell me a little bit about your team, and let's talk a little bit about the stream you guys have every week, and the weeklies you guys have, and the training regimen.
Yeah, sure. So we play every Tuesday and Thursday. Thursday is our weekly tournament. Starts at 7 7 Central. Or the tournament starts at 8, but the gathering starts at 7. And it's not like other tournaments because it's actually totally aside from the venue fee to get in, it's totally free to enter, and there's no prize. It's just for pride and like seating, or not seating, but like season points, so you can say, you're the overall champion of the season or whatever and stuff.
So there's no prize.
Yep.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. It's mainly because we just want the most people to come out as we can. We want someone who, if you're gonna get bodied every week, who cares? You're coming out to train and see if you can improve,
Right.
that type of thing. And the top guys, like PBJ and Nicholas and myself and, all those people, we're going to come out anyways because we're having fun with the game, So we feel like, we're going to come out anyways. So why, make it more of a burden on the other people too? I don't know. That's just our thought, but the arcade started that like a year ago during Injustice, and because during the MK9 days we held a few tournaments, and I mean a lot of times, if I was the only top guy there, it was just like, well, donate money to Dizzy Day or something. I just would body people, and it's not fun for anyone, And I honestly was just like, I'll just play you guys without the money involved. I don't care. I'd play people in casual. I'd come out 3 times a week to the arcade and stuff. I just love to play offline. So after having Killer Instinct where there was like no scene, I'm like, I'll drive an hour. I don't care, type thing.
Wow, so, definitely not. You guys are definitely not Hollywood. That's for sure. I mean, you're the way you guys train. I mean, I was there. It was like this weird. I don't know if you guys have seen that fucking episode of South Park where they go underneath the Panda Express and there's like a cock magic ring. That's kind of how it was. It was like this weird back hall where you got to walk all the way down and there's this room. And in this room, there's like dragon tattoos on the walls and like there's wall scrolls around. And these guys are serious in this room. It's like you guys were cutting each other's throats. And there was a stream and there was commentary. 16-bit was there. It was a really cool environment, and the fact that you guys play just for pride is really something that I think is rare and super cool. So let me give you the opportunity and everyone in the chat the opportunity to find out where the fuck they can watch it, because I just followed like the other day. What's the stream? Is it Galloping Ghost Arcade?
Yeah, it's the stream is twitch.tv/Galloping Ghost Arcade, and the weekly tournament, like I said, is on Thursdays. It starts a bit before this show, so if you normally watch a show, you can watch it while you're waiting, type thing. So, but it's over now. Looking over, there's just casual stuff going on.
I realized just before the show started that you had to not go to that to be on this podcast, so I appreciate it, man. You missed out on all $0 of that pot. Bummer.
Yeah, true. But yeah, it's. I mean, the scene there is awesome.
It sounds like it.
It's just a lot of fun. Everyone, even the people that aren't top players, they're a lot of them are super dedicated. They want to improve, and if anyone's in the Chicago area that has never been out there and they want to get into World Combat, come by and I'll show you option selects.
Dude, it's interesting that you have such a good attitude about it. It's super rare. Really, really rare, and that's good to hear. And it's really a good type of attitude for getting people to get serious and getting people to come out and play. That's awesome. Sounds good to me. I was there, and I felt the good vibes. Galloping Ghost Arcade Internet, you should definitely check it out. It was awesome. It was a sick arcade. I'll never forget it, and I would be there if I lived in the area. That's for sure. Okay, so I think that's gonna start to wrap things up. There's a couple things left that we need to cover. First of all, I want to give all 3 of you an opportunity to plug all your different channels and avenues and whatnot. So I'll start with you, Ricky. Go ahead.
Rip's camera's frozen. It's getting pretty funny. The freezes that it's landing on.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good.
I've just been mildly entertained. Follow me on Twitch and Twitter at Ricksteezy, RICKSTEEEZY. I'll be streaming MKX and hella practicing option selects now.
Right?
So that I can never do an unsafe flip kick ever again.
Damn right. Sounds good. Okay. Ricksteezy, RICKSTEEEZY. Check him out. Rip, go ahead. Your turn.
You can catch my streams at twitch.tv/levelupyourgame. I don't know what the hell's going on with my camera.
Yeah, you look pretty good.
Right now.
That's it? Did you finish?
That's it. That was it.
Okay. Dizzy, do you do any house streaming at all?
No, I don't at home at all. But yeah, definitely, follow the arcade on Twitch at, Galloping Ghost Arcade, and follow me on Twitter at GGA_Dizzy. I got like 300 new followers from Ed Boon tweeting me.
Mission accomplished.
I'm like, whoa, Hollywood. That's more important than the tournament win.
I gotta tell you, man, I've talked to a lot of players, and God knows there are a lot of top players out there. Considering, you're really well spoken, and you're really able to put your strategies into words, and I think you should stream. Long story short, I'm gonna cut it short. You should get your act together and try to stream. Because, it's interesting hearing you speak. That's really what it's all about, right? You want to hear someone say some shit that really means it's worth more than this is ass and that is ass, right? You want, some substance and some strategy. And, it's rare. It's rare. So, I don't know, I think you can afford a capture card, maybe some capture equipment. So, I think you should really think about it. Get into it. Maybe once a week. Get a stream going, because it's really rare for high-end players to be able to turn their strategies into words and speak about them. So, good shit on that, and I hope you start streaming.
Yeah, actually, 16-bit won a capture card from winning SDR 2011, and it's been sitting in his trunk ever since. So I could probably just be like, yo, give me that.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, man, you really should do it. You really should try it out. I think you have the personality for it, and I like the way you speak about your strats, so good shit.
Cool.
Now it's the final part of the show. I had heard prior to you being on that you might give me a hard time about this whole bitch calling thing, Dizzy. So let's see. Are you boys ready? Is anyone ready with their bitch calling?
I don't really have one. I'm gonna call my camera a bitch for screwing me up so much today.
Wow, that's your bitch calling?
My bitch calling.
Yikes.
My
Ricky?
shitty camera.
I'm gonna call you, Eris, and Rip bitches,
Okay.
because this goes back to when you guys did strong style commentary, right? You guys are good commentators. I'll give you that.
Okay, thanks for giving us that.
Man, but hearing you two talk about a past event that happened literally 2 minutes ago, you guys are scratching your head. You guys,
2 minutes?
You guys have the worst memory ever, and it frustrates me because I won't listen to your commentary. You're like, oh yeah, we just saw Saint just play. Who did he play again? I don't know. Then it was on 2 minutes ago. How can you not remember? But you guys, worst memory ever. Pisses me off.
Not
I want
live,
you guys,
dude.
What?
Whatever. I'm sorry.
So yeah, you two are bitches. Take some ginseng. That shit helps memory sometimes.
Is that true?
Oh, that's what I heard.
Take what?
Ginseng.
Ginseng. That's what I've heard. You guys remember me those two old Muppets on the balcony and shit?
Oh,
Just
God.
Yeah. The Muppet Show Peanut Gallery guys.
Yeah.
I'm down with that. I'll accept that. My bitch calling is gonna be Rip for sure, because let's just start at the top right here. I
Oh, God.
go out of my way to have a hot dog emoticon created, right? And then one of the fans, he goes, you know what? I found this picture of Rip. I want to make this emoticon of a hot dog to go into Rip's mouth, and I want you to use it. He made 3 different sizes of that shit, and it was ready to go, ready to submit. But I thought to myself, you know what? Let me ask Rip if it's okay with him for me to use this emoticon. And he says, no, Eris, you can't use it. So I say, okay, no problem, Rip. I respect you as a human, or so you say, human, right? Then next thing I know, I turn around. Not only is Rip using the very emoticon that was designed for my chat in his stream, but he's also using one of my other emoticons, which is Charles's face. And the icing on the cake is that he didn't even ask Charles's permission. So this all started with the permission idea. So definitely Rip is my bitch calling for this week.
Now, hold on. Before we finish this topic.
Sure.
Okay. When you use someone's face, you can't really do that without asking for permission, right?
But you did.
I'm just saying, when you try to use my face as an emoticon,
Right.
right? Okay, so you can't really do that, right? So when I said no, it was like, all right, no, you didn't do it. Cool, right? But I let you have permission to put it on your stream, on the screen.
What?
Right, I did.
I don't know what that means.
You remember me telling
He's
you
saying that there's two different things between emoticons in the chat and stream emoticons that appear on his stream.
Right, but I'm also saying that I let Eris put it on his stream on the screen, just not in the chat, right?
I don't know. I wasn't aware of that.
I
don't
did
know
allow
what
you
that
to do that,
means.
and that's why you kept on putting it on your screen afterwards.
I mean, yeah, you did put it on the
I don't-
screen a lot.
Right. You did,
Okay.
and you still do. Okay. And now I have this thing where I show pictures on my screen. First of all, you didn't make the hot dog picture of me, right?
It was made for my channel by a fan.
You didn't make it, right?
No.
Okay, you didn't make it. The car face, right? First of all, that picture was created by my gameplay, right? That car face.
Whoa! Wow, you're going way out.
Hold on. That's just step one. That's just step one.
Boo this man. That was created by my gameplay?
Step one. Okay, step two, I edited that version of Char. I didn't use your emoticon version of Char's face that car face took the picture of. No. I edited the Kano face onto that. That was my editing. I didn't ask someone else to do it. That was my editing. So I put it on there. I still should have asked Char if I should have used his face or could have used his face on my stream, not in my chat. But I didn't, so I took it off. Fine, whatever. You know what I'm saying? But whatever.
It's just...
I'm just saying. You can't... It's really weird. I mean, because you asked me to stop using the hot dog thing on my screen, right?
Well, only because I'm not allowed to use it. It's such a masterpiece. We should both be able to use it. Everyone should be able to use it.
I said you can use it on your screen, right?
Okay.
I just said not as a
Well, whatever. You're my bitch calling of the week. I don't need a life story.
Okay, and I'm just saying, like, and so you tell me that I can't use my face on my stream.
God.
That was what you said. That I can't use my face on my stream, right?
You're not allowed to use
Eris.
your face.
You're a bitch too.
Okay. Well, Dizzy, you're up. I know what you're thinking. Rip's a bitch. Go ahead.
I was thinking, man, people think I'm the scumbag. You got Rick here.
Right. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Thanks. You're the new co-host on the show, Dizzy. Go ahead. Who's your bitch calling?
So you said people were telling you I'd probably give you a hard time. That's because people think I'm actually nice. I'm not nice.
Okay.
I got some friendly fire coming. One of my teammates, GJ Waffles, is who I am going to call a bitch.
Okay.
And the reason why is because for the past month that the game has been out, he's been bitching about the PC release. How it's, buggy, how it's, behind on the patch, all that stuff. And you know what I found out this weekend? He has had a PS4 all this time.
Ooh.
Wait, so he's been...
And he decided to just bitch about it instead of actually just getting the PS4 version.
Who is this again? Waffles?
It is Waffles. He was a top player in MK9. He won a final round 1 year with Smoke.
You heard it. Ooh, I like Smoke. All right,
Yeah.
Waffles. Well, you heard it. Dizzy thinks you're a bitch. Get it sorted out, man. The PC version is butt cheeks. Man, I can't believe the PS4 version of Street Fighter 4. That one is crazy. Invisible Sonic Booms. Okay, did we forget anything? Is that gonna wrap it up?
Someone check our Kappa, and see if we missed anything.
I think that's going to wrap it up, Internet. Thank you so much, Dizzy, for being on the podcast. I know that you had to take time away from your usual routine. Thursdays is the tournaments for you, so I really appreciate you coming out and teaching us a thing or two about Mortal Kombat. And, congrats on Combo Breaker. Personally, I do not think that you are a cheater. However, I love talking shit, so I'm going to say you're a cheater. Good job cheating at Combo Breaker, but also congrats. It was really, really cool watching you play, and it was really awesome watching all of those guys play. Personally, Combo Breaker was an awesome experience for me, and I won't forget it. So, Internet, that's going to wrap it up for the podcast. We'll see you guys next time. Take it easy, everybody.
Adios.